Hello and welcome to the Storyboard Show. I'm John Gilbert and this is part 2 of our special on video case studies. So the man in the hot seat today
We've swapped over.
is Ian Thompson, yeah, as if by trick photography. We've swapped stools, adjusted the heights accordingly, and so we'll carry on our discussion. So in the first part we talked really about how we put things together in terms of a campaign and a little bit about kind of how you would work with interviewees in order to tell their case study story. But of course that's one side of it. The other side of it, it's got to look good, it's got to sound good, and it's got to have a particular style. So for you as the filmmaker in that approach, Ian, what are the kind of key considerations that we need to make in order to tell a story effectively?
So I think, it's like we discussed last week. It's whoever's telling the story; it's their story, and I think there's a number of ways we can do it. You want to be interviewing the person. Obviously, that's what we've said. We don't want just a voiceover or something. Not all people might want to be in it though, so it may well be that we're interviewing them and just still using that as a voiceover, possibly. But if that's the case, then ideally you'd want to be using some cutaways of them, I think. I'm not a massive fan of reconstruction stuff. I think it works perfectly well sometimes, but I think quite often I don't really like it. But let's say they agree to be on film then I think, like you say, it's all about the preparation and it's all about making them feel comfortable. So where do they want to be filmed? Do they want to be filmed at their house? Do they want to be filmed at their work? Do they want to have someone else there whilst they're being filmed? Are they happy to be filmed in the studio? Sometimes I really like it when someone's talking directly to camera in the studio. I think that's a really nice way of connecting with the audience because they're looking straight into the camera. You feel like they're talking directly to you. But that's not for everyone, and also it's difficult just looking straight into the lens and talking to effectively nothing unless you're going to set up an alter queue and Skype someone in so they've got someone to talk to, which is a possibility.
So the way we do it, we as you mentioned a moment ago, we usually give them the choice.
Yeah.
And I find people are quite often surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they've had any experience before, it's like, this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
But they'll just, as you say, come to your home, come to us, and the way that the style of that works as well. And we've been given feedback recently where this was nowhere near as scary as I expected it to be. That's a really nice reaction.
And they were in the studio as well. They were in the studio,
I don't know what
which
thought we were going to do.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe your reputation precedes you, but actually it's just like kind of, this wasn't scary at all.
No. And the scariest situation I'd have thought for someone is in the studio, but they were in the studio and they really enjoyed it. And I think that's what it is. It's like you say, it's all about the preparation and making people feel at ease, making them feel like making them know that they've got a say in this. And you can talk to them, you can judge whether they're quite nervous about it. You can judge what sort of person they are, and you can ask them, where would you rather do it? And I think for some people, they're quite happy doing it in the studio. Some people prefer to do it at home. But I think that's nice as well because you get, in the home as well, you get something completely different because the light's completely different. You've got a different background and whatnot. You can. Nice shallow depth of field, blur things out in the background. You've got something, again, really quite interesting there as well. And also it shows them in their own environment. And once you get them nice and relaxed, then I think that's when they're going to...
That's when the magic happens.
Exactly, that's when they're going to speak best. And, what you want them to concentrate on is telling the story. And I think that's what it's all about.
So a lot of the stories we tell are quite poignant or like quite heavy-hitting subjects at times as well. But not always as well. We've done like inspiring stories as well and things around about enterprise and so on as well. So talk us through mood. So what are the things that you can do as a filmmaker to establish an appropriate mood?
So, you've got, obviously where it's going to be filmed, whether they're going to be looking just off camera, whether they're going to be looking into the camera, whether it's, an interview or straight to camera. You've also got a lighting as well. Here at the Storyboard Show, we go for quite dark, moody lighting a lot of the time. But, again, I think that's a decision that you've got to make when you're thinking about the subject matter as well.
What mood are we going for then in that tracking?
Here? I know,
what's the mood we're going for right now?
Just angst with a suspicion of awe.
Angst and awe?
I don't know. Yeah. But yes, I think and when it is quite a serious subject, then I think you don't want to go too dramatic on the lighting as well, because again, it's one of those things where it makes you feel like you're trying to lead them in a particular direction or you're trying to tell the story with the light. I think, which is why it's quite nice at the house because there's not a lot you can do at the house. You don't want to start shutting curtains and killing all the light and things. So I think, then it is quite natural. When they're in the studio, okay, maybe you can go a little bit more dramatic if you like, but I think...
I suppose you can develop a brand feeling at that point.
Exactly,
if you're doing something which is about an Angst and All series, video series with you and I.
Exactly.
Talking to occasional guests in the studio.
Some nice tense
but at least there's some
music underneath.
consistency within there as well. I'm sorry, I feel as I jumped in.
No, that's absolutely fine. No problem at all. No, but yeah. So yeah, we've got the lighting, we've got the location, and we've got the style in which you're filming as well. Whether you're filming in an interview style or straight to camera as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about other things that we could do around the movie? What about things like music?
Yeah, I mean, again, I really like it when a film's got nice music underneath. I'm a big fan of film scores and things like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're not going to put Raiders of the Lost Ark underneath a case study or something, but you've got I think the music's really important as well. But again, it's about getting the mood right and making sure that it's not trying to lead the audience down a route that maybe the subject wouldn't want them to be led down.
Yeah, I get that as well. It's almost like, as much as I like Ricky Gervais TV shows and stuff like that, he basically hits you with a sledgehammer and goes, "Now you feel sad."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it's just like, now you laugh.
But then also you have got to be still, I mean, if it is a sensitive subject, then you can't be having the Benny Hill music underneath it. It's got to be something. Then it's got to be something still appropriate. So I think it's a really fine balance. And quite a lot of the time, what we tend to do with the case studies is we'll get music specifically made for the films as well. Mm-hmm. There's some great sites out there which you can buy music from or sign up to as a subscription and do that, which is great. And they've got a lot of good stuff on it, and a lot of the time you can find something on there. But I think sometimes as well, it's good to get someone in and make some music.
And sometimes you make it yourself.
Sometimes
string
I do
to your bow.
Sometimes there are better people out there than me. But
what's an appropriate amount of time, like the length of the video, to get the points across?
It's a good question, actually. I was talking to someone this morning about this. I went to a meeting about some case studies we're going to be doing for someone over the next couple of months. And it's a couple of people who already do a talk in schools, and they've got a talk. And I asked him, I said, how long are these? And he said sort of 20, 25 minutes. Now, I think when you're in the room, I think there's a lot more to engage people. I think people can be polite sometimes as well when you're actually there. So I think, 20, 25 minutes is fine. I think on video, 20, 25 minutes is a long time. So, I mean, I discussed it with him. I sort of suggested, if it's really, really good. What we decided to do is we decided to film the full talk, and then I'm going to edit it down, and we can always have a two-parter, a long version, a short version. But I think we decided to go for 3 to 5 minutes in all. Mm-hmm. I think it also depends the time on what sort of style you're going for. If you're going to have cutaways in there showing, whatever the cutaways can show, the person going about their everyday life, the person doing their job, depending on what the film's about, then I think you can afford to go a little bit longer. If it's just someone talking to camera, then I think the shorter the better. I think sort of under 3 minutes, if possible. But again, you've got to tell the story. You don't want to be cutting too much out, and I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, you've still got to get your beginning, middle, and the ending.
Yeah, it's a fine
establish
line.
The story.
Yeah.
This is the pain point or the triumph or the adversity that was required, and now reflecting on this is my message for other people.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the background always adds to the story as well. So, it's good to get some background in beforehand. But, that can all be judged, like we say, in the meetings beforehand when we meet people and talk to them about their story. Then along with making sure that they're comfortable and deciding with them how we're going to do it, it's all about finding out about the story and deciding, I think we can keep this bit in. I think that bit doesn't necessarily need to be in. And I think, we can gauge then how long we think the film should be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and on that note, we're about at the end of our running time for this edition as well. So I guess a few things in summary. We've covered a lot of ground on here as well, but the main thing is really, if you're trying to tell somebody's story, just remember that they are entitled to contribute to that. Yeah. Give them space and let them tell it their way. It sounds like such an easy and obvious thing to do, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not doing it that way. So if you've got the opportunity to do that, just let them tell their story. So thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the Storyboard Show.
See you next week.